Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the HP Omen 15. Now this retails this specific build for $1,200 US. I will include a link in the description, and if you've been waiting for a really affordable gaming laptop, this may fit the bill. So under the hood, the Omen that I'm about to share with all of you has a Ryzen 5 5600H 6-core processor, 16 gigs of RAM, a 0.5 terabyte NVMe SSD, which of course is upgradable, as is the RAM, and then an NVIDIA RTX 3060. So pretty solid in terms of CPU and GPU at $1,200. And then the 15.6-inch display that this has is a, of course, IPS panel, 144 hertz refresh rate, and it is full HD. I believe 7 millisecond response time. Wi-Fi 6, B&O speakers, a 6-cell battery. You see the entire write-up right there. So let's get this thing out of the box. Pretty straightforward. This was sent over by HP for review purposes, and it will be going back. So this is not a sponsored video for anyone that is curious. And I do think this is a logical option for anyone looking for, again, a really affordable gaming laptop that is also capable of, doing productivity work, because you're talking about AMD's Ryzen 5 5600H is actually quite powerful considering its price point. And that's one of the things that makes this a compelling option here in 2021. So 5.5 pounds roughly you're getting. This is a brand new machine that was shipped over. And by the way, if you do use the link that I've included in the description below, I am part of HP's affiliate program. So that does go towards helping this channel make more content, obviously, for all of you. So paperwork out of the way. Here is the machine, which from a fit and finish standpoint, I think is pretty straightforward. I like it. It is solid. You can feel the weight, the Omen logo there. I'm going to put this aside, though. Let's finish up with the actual power brick, and then I'll get to the machine itself. So right here we have the actual power brick, which I'm going to remove. Now, no Thunderbolt on this laptop. After all, it is an AMD build, and that's not something we're seeing yet, since Thunderbolt is, of course, proprietary still to Intel. That is something that over time will eventually change, but we're not there yet. And I don't think there's anything on this side of the box other than the actual packaging, which I think HP does a nice job with. This power brick that is included is a 200-watt brick that's also already partially unwrapped, and of course I will unwrap that completely. I'm not exactly sure on the length of the cable here. Charging time, if you're wondering, is slated at, I believe HP spec is 50% in 45 minutes, so you're looking at a little over an hour to get a full charge. So I don't think that's bad. And battery life, HP is putting at 9 hours on this on video playback. I'm thinking realistically, if we see 6, we will be very, very happy. So let's go ahead and get the plastic off of this. This is what most of you have been waiting for. Let's see if I can do this neatly. And realistically, what do I expect in terms of actual performance from this machine? Well, the processor isn't going to be a bottleneck, and that's part of the beauty of the CPU, the 6-core AMD Ryzen 5 chip that we're getting here. So potentially it is actually, from a productivity standpoint, right there with Intel's 10th gen chips. Now when it comes to 11th gen, things change a little bit, but the fact that this processor can compete with Intel's 10th generation says a lot about the value that you're getting out of this. So all ventilation right here on the bottom, which makes sense. Rubber feet, and construction feels good. That's the first thing that I'm going to tell you. Solid, it's what I expect from HP. They're one of the largest PC manufacturers in the world. And I like the styling. I like the fit and finish. It's not a fingerprint magnet. I can already see that. So that's pretty good. I mean, anything I'm laying down seems to be dissolving immediately. Whether or not you're a fan of the Omen logo, that's a matter of personal preference. Let's take a look around the actual 4.5-pound chassis. 2 Type A USB ports right here, some ventilation. You have a display port out as well as a Type C with power delivery. And then on the other side of the machine, we have our power port right there alongside of an Ethernet port, another Type A port that, of course, USB that also has power delivery, and an HDMI port. And then you have your audio combo jack and, of course, a full-size SD card slot, which I love. So from a value perspective, this seems to be hitting it out of the park. I mean, it has all the I/O you could need, and granted, at a $1,200 price point, it seems pretty, I would say, well-rounded. So let's take a look at the balance of the machine. So in terms of keyboard, key travel seems pretty solid, and this is something HP tends to get right. We have a matte display on this. Let's get it all in frame, shall we? Do my best here to make sure that it is all in frame. Let's get a little bit wider. And it looks good. I mean, 144 hertz, full HD. You should be able, with this pairing of CPU and GPU, to pretty much play anything you want. The touchpad, trackpad could be larger, but I think it's perfectly fine in terms of size. And of course, speaker grill right here across the forward of the deck above all of the keys. Your webcam front and center. It seems like we have a dual array microphone. I did not see a privacy switch on the laptop. I'm just going to double check. I don't believe there is one. Rubber feet here to brace the display when making contact. And yeah, that seems to be it. We have a dedicated Omen button. It looks like a nice machine. So let me go ahead and connect the actual power brick, because I don't anticipate that this is going to physically boot on our first shot here. But I'm going to, of course, put it through the paces. I think that what it comes down to is that if you're looking for a machine, again, in this class, that gives you, as I've stated, the ability to do work as well as game, and you do not want to break the bank, this seems like a good direction to go. I mean, actually, let's try, instead of using the power brick, let's try going with a Type-C 65 watt and just see where we get. It was on the other side of the machine, so let's go over there. Let's plug that in and see if we can get a boot off of that, because we should. We should. We're going to see right now. But regardless, again, it's really clean, and I think that's one of the things to admire about the Omen lineup, is that it doesn't have to be this clean. It's really that simple. It could be a completely different beast altogether. So let's see if we get a boot. I hear fans kicking on. Sounds good. I may have held that too long. Let's see. Not a lot of wobble on the display. I mean, a little bit, but this is not a touch input device, so I'm not worried. Dedicated LED there for the power button. Dig that. Backlighting on this specific one, I'm not sure that we have, I don't think we have RGB capability. And forget about zones. I'm not seeing any backlight bleed at all on this IPS 15.6-inch panel. And again, 144 hertz full HD, I think for a lot of you out there, is still going to be a sweet spot. Even though we've got 1440p and 1600p 16-inch displays now, this is still going to be the happy medium for the majority of you. And I have to believe that a 3060 in here with a processor like this is going to shine. I mean, at a $1,200 price point, this is going to be tough to beat. I have been calling the Lenovo Legion 5 Pro a budget king, but that's, I should just get rid of her altogether, but it should be a budget dream machine here. I've been talking about the Legion 5 Pro, but that 3070 build with the Ryzen 7 processor is tough to come by at that $1399 price. That was a in-store only price. So the likelihood of you grabbing one of those isn't great. And most of you have responded in kind, telling me how expensive it is. Whereas obviously with a build like this, you're getting a balanced machine that can basically do it all. And you're not going to be gaming in 4K, obviously, with this. But again, the CPU, I don't expect to do any bottlenecking at all for the GPU. And it just seems like a good combo and a mature decision, if I may say, about a gaming PC. And I think the styling here is exactly what I would personally want if I was looking for a gaming system that I did not want to be flashy. HP, again, their design language, I think generally is practical and makes a lot of sense, and that comes through here. And I'm not knocking other manufacturers. Now, in terms of build quality, a lot of you are going to be curious. This is predominantly, at least it seems to be, aluminum. Yes, some polycarbonate is employed. The chin of this display here, the bezel on the bottom, absolutely is, but the deck is aluminum. Feels like the back lid is as well, and the bottom. So build quality is really solid. I'm not hearing any creaking or anything like that. Let me go ahead and skip through this. But I don't know that I'm going to even bother with this now. I think I've just got to get to benchmarking, throwing some games on, throwing some video editing software on, and of course you'll get a different viewing angle for all of that, and we'll see how it performs. I'm expecting, for example, a Time Spy score to be somewhere between 7,000 and 8,000, and if that is what this yields, then this is a pretty, I would say, amazing machine at its price. The weight class is right there with all the other 15.5-inch and 16-inch laptops on the market, and I can't really fault the I/O at all. I think we've got pretty much everything between having HDMI and DisplayPort dedicated, and of course this Type-C port as well. I mean, the only thing that I personally would like to see more of, which you're not going to, would be Type-C ports. But again, everything seems to be accommodated, and that's easily rectified with a hub. Tremendous amount of ventilation, by the way, here on the back of the machine that I didn't point out earlier. I'm not expecting this to do any form of thermal throttling, so I think this is going to be a winner, but let's see. I've got to put it to the test. We have to see how it runs. But at $1,200 US, if this allows you to play AAA titles, and get 40 to 60 frames on average natively on the full HD panel, which I think we'll get. And then also, of course, from a productivity standpoint, it outperforms pretty much all of Intel's 10th gen H series CPUs. What is not to like about a $1,200 gaming machine like this? Battery life is the only thing I really can't speak to. I already know what to expect otherwise. But again, if we get 6 hours out of this, this is a big league contender for anyone on a budget looking to get all the bells and whistles of 2021 without stepping into another price category. Of course, for an additional $200 to $300, you could step up to a Ryzen 7 processor, and that's a video for another time. Of course, some of you will benefit from that extra processing power, but I think the majority of users are probably going to be happy with what this Omen 15 Ryzen 5 3060 combo has to offer. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe and please stay safe. Later.